Bros!
Never in my life did I ever think I would utter the following words. Is it time for us to ban Dice Foon? So, I'm kind of being half serious here when I say this. I think the better way to deal with it is to ban It's My Lucky Day, the skill. However, I don't feel like that's the right course of action to be taking, at least not yet. The formats in Speed tend to be 2 months, so we've seen so far between each set release. And then decks, we don't really have a set release on yet. I'm betting it might be every 6 months because we had one January/December, and this other one is now coming out in August. Hopefully we get them a little more often. It'd be nice to shake it up. It'd also be even nicer to have them in between core sets. That way we're not waiting until every 2 months for the new thing. And I know 2 months isn't long if we're talking regular Yu-Gi-Oh!, but with the small card pool that we have for Speed, it kind of takes its sweet time. We've only had a month of Attack from the Deep, and I'm already begging for a new format. But back to my main point, is this skill too broken? Now, I would argue it's not. However, I feel like over time it could definitely get more powerful. I took a look through Dueling Book as I use as an encyclopedia to see all the options that would be kind of broken with this card, whether they're coin flips or rolls of dice. And we got some kind of OP ones, so I kind of want to go into that real quick. First off, I'm really surprised no one's teching Graceful or Skull Dice right now. If people don't remember, this blankets the entire field depending on which one you use. Either Skull reduces your opponent's monsters attack equal to the result, or Graceful boosts all of your monsters equal to the result. I understand it's not the end of the turn, but it's like, if you want to mass rush recklessly, Graceful Dice with that skill is a guarantee 600 to everything you control, and Skull Dice is the same, but 600 loss to your opponent. I feel like both of those could come in clutch in some situations, especially now that everyone's playing the skill. But moving on to what I think would be crazy if they added to the game for sure. Twin Barrel Dragon. If it's summoned, you target a card your opponent controls, toss a coin twice, and if both results are heads, you destroy the targeted card. I think that's really good. That's just free spot removal, whether it be a monster or spell and trap, which is really good in Speed. And it's also a 1700 monster to boot. Kuban, once per turn you roll a 6-sided die, and while this monster is face up on the field, neither player can normal or special summon monsters of the same level as the result. That's pretty good. You can stall out your opponent for a turn, guarantee whatever you roll, they can't normal or special summon, so that could be very format heavy. The Gamblers, Sand Gambler and Gambler of Legends. Sand Gambler tosses 3 coins. If all 3 are heads, destroys all monsters on your opponent's field. If all tails, destroys all your monsters. Guarantee all 3 heads. Gambler of Legends, a tad different and a little bit safer. 3 heads, destroys all opponent's monsters. 2 heads, discards 1 random card from your opponent's hand. 1 head, destroys 1 card you control. And 3 tails, discards your entire hand. But it's a bit safer in the fact that it doesn't obliterate your field if you're kind of hard rolling for him. Tour of Doom kind of goes with the Arcana Force theme, and I'll touch on that subject in a second, but Tour of Doom's continuous trap that says during your opponent's stamina phase you toss a coin. If it's heads, your opponent cannot normal or flip summon until the end phase. Tails, you can't. But the thing is, you're just going to guarantee the heads, then your opponent can't summon outside of special summoning, so depending on the deck you're playing against, that could be really good, really good. Then we come to what I would consider to be the kind of more OP cards with this skill. Snipe Hunter's first on this list because I think Snipe Hunter would kind of be OP for this game in general. But the fact that you discard a card, target a card in the field, and roll a 6-sided dice, and then destroy the target unless you roll a 1 or a 6. So by itself, it's always really good. The odds are basically Dice Foon's odds. 4 of your 6 results are dumb. But if you guarantee it, it's just better Twin Barrel, whereas this is once per turn versus Twin Barrel's on the summon. Yeah, he's 1500, but you don't care. You're just popping things for free. I don't think that card will ever come to this game, at least not for a very long time. It's very good already. With this skill, it just gets insane. But I did still want to include it on the list. Blind Obliteration, this to me is ridiculous. You roll a 6-sided dice twice and destroy all face-up monsters with levels/ranks lower than the total result. You could roll guarantee 2 6s, so you're destroying everything that's level 11 or lower. This is just mass torrential tribute whenever you want to flip it. I remember this got played, I think, in Zodiac format at one point or another. just to deal with their spam of the field real quick, because it was really easy to guarantee the 4 or less. And this kind of fits the same description, except for the fact that you could also just get a 6 and a 6 and guarantee 11 or lower, destroying literally any deck, unless the monster is unaffected by traps. So I think this could be insane in the game if it came over here. Hopefully it doesn't, and especially not while that skill is running rampant. Rowlet Spider. I could easily see this because it's a Joey Wheeler card. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, roll a dice and apply the result. If it's a 1, you half your life. If it's 2, make that attack direct. If it's 3, choose a monster you control, change the attack target to it, and perform damage calc. If it's a 4, choose one other monster your opponent controls, change the attack target to it, and perform damage calculation. If it's a 5, and this is where I think you just guarantee the 5 or 6 here, you either negate the attack with a 5, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack, so you essentially magic cylinder, or 6, destroy the opponent's monsters, or use Sakuretsu armor, essentially. So either one, if you guarantee it, and that's, again, I could see that over most of these cards coming in because it's a Joey Wheeler card. That plus Time Magic Hammer. If they ever bring over the Legendary Dragons to this game, Time Magic Hammer's dice effect is you can roll a 6-sided die and banish that opponent's monster until the standby phase to the nth number of turns after this effect's activation. N equals the result. So if you get a 6, you banish it for 6 turns, and then you bring it back. Again, a little more you gotta kind of build to this, but 6 turns, that seems kind of insane. Another card I could easily see being OP with this skill is Fire Darts. You activate it while you have no cards in your hand, roll a 6-sided die 3 times and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the sum of the die rolls x100. So the thing is, with the skill, you can guarantee all 3 die rolls of one effect be 6s. So you would do 600 damage times 3, because it's 3 dice rolls, 1800 damage to your opponent off 1 trap in a game with 4000 life. That's essentially half of the opponent's life. I think that would be a little extreme. I don't think that would come over. Cup of Ace, everyone that played Duel Links knows about this. Toss a coin. If you get heads, draw 2. If it's tails, your opponent draws 2. You're just auto-drawing 2 cards with the skill. And if I remember correctly, or from what I've been told, Cup of Ace was already limited or semi-limited over in Duel Links because it was already a 50-50 chance. But you bring it over here, and then it's a guaranteed 100% chance draw 2 at one point, and then every other chance you still have a 50% chance of hitting the draw 2 regardless. So seems good. Last of the specifics that I think are kind of OP, if we get future ritual support and they give us Dark Master Zork, the once per turn you can roll a 6-sided die, then destroy all monsters your opponent controls. If you roll a 1 or a 2, destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. If you get a 3, 4, or 5, or if you get a 6, destroys all your monsters. Not only is this a beat stack at 2700, but then guaranteeing the 1 or 2 popping your opponent's field of monsters lets you clearly go in for big damage. I think Zork could kind of be OP with this skill for sure. And lastly, what I wanted to get into is the Arcana Force archetype. Now, I don't think this card would be insane with the entire archetype because you're only going to get it off of 1 effect once per duel. However, if you get it on the right effect, it could be insane. You could turn Light Barrier's effect on so that all your effects are guaranteed. You could make the world skip your opponent's turn, in which case, again, I don't think they'll put a world in this game. You could make Dark Ruler have it so he either, if he's destroyed, destroys all cards on the field, or it can make a second attack. It can kind of get insane. So I think there's a lot of reasons as to why this skill definitely shouldn't still exist in the game the further we go in. I don't think it's OP right now. It could definitely be in the future. And I could be wrong. Dice Foon could be the way we work the game for the next umpteenth formats, in which case, yeah, then I would say go ahead and ban it. You can't. The problem between Duel Links and Speed Duels is that errata-ing in Duel Links is so much easier because it's just something on your mobile device, whereas in this, they'd have to reprint the card. You'd have to re-go through using the correct text over the incorrect text, and while that does exist in current Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'm not sure how they're going to do it with this, but you never know. So guys, what do you think? Do we need a banned card in Speed Duels already? Do we need to ban this skill? Obviously, banning Dice Foon does nothing because the skill would still exist for these future options. So do we need to get rid of the Joey skill once and for all? Or would a simple errata just be better for the game, or should we not do anything right now and see how the format shapes up later on with the new releases? Guys, comment, like, and subscribe. As always, please let me know what you think. This is Yugi Bros, and I'm signing out, guys. Peace.